Bharat Mata ki. We have gathered here. We have gathered here in front of the Indian High Commission today just in support of those victims in Pahalgam. Innocent people enjoying life. They were there as tourists. They were there to enjoy. Suddenly, life was taken away from them by these terrorists. Innocent civilians are being killed is not on. If people are so bad in this world that they would like to kill innocent civilians in a full way, I request my Prime Minister to take strongest possible action against those who had done this crime and against those who has given them shelter, given them support. There is not a single Indian who likes this, and there is not a single person in this world who will support this kind of act. We are here in support of the Indian community. The Indian diaspora in UK is here fully in support of Prime Minister Modi. Thank you.
I'm here today to stand in solidarity with the people of India, with our Hindu brothers and sisters. We know what this jihadist terror looks like. We've suffered it for years in Israel, and we want you to know that you're not alone, that Hindu blood is not cheap, and that we stand with you today and forever. And we want you to know that with our collaboration, with our alliance, we will defeat jihadism from Jammu and Kashmir to Jerusalem. We stand with you, and I actually set up a society called the Israel-India Friendship Club. Anyone who wants to join us and bring our two ancient indigenous peoples together is more than welcome to do so. I think together, if we unite, our enemies stand no chance, and together we will defeat them. Jai Hind.
We come together in grief. Brothers and sisters, when terrorists strike, they strike at the heart of humanity, wherever they may be. This terrorist outrage is singling out people who are Hindu, and indeed I understand Christians as well. It demonstrates these people have hatred for people because of their religion. They cannot be tolerated. I raised the issue today in the House of Commons, but I've asked for a statement next week from the government to make sure we express not only our grief and our support for India, but also for the actions that India will need to take following this terrorist outrage. The sad reality is that we could see a rapid escalation. And from my personal perspective, obviously I express my condolences to the victims, to their families, and indeed to all Indians, wherever they may be, who've been so sorely affected. I had the opportunity 9 years ago now to visit Kashmir Valley, and it's forever etched on my mind about the beauty of the valley and the opportunity there is for tourism, provided security is paramount. So the reality is that these people seek to stop tourism. They seek to stop people visiting. And I know in India many people have had to go home from the valley when they were touring, and many other people have cancelled their visits. We cannot allow the terrorists to succeed. So, from my personal perspective, let me say, I will strongly support whatever India does to pursue the terrorists and those that have backed the terrorists. Make sure they are brought to justice. If they can't be brought to justice, they must be eliminated. And indeed, they're back. It is my express hope that all the political parties in the United Kingdom will join with the Indian government in expressing that support for whatever action India chooses to take, including military action if it's necessary to eliminate those terrorist bases that exist on the opposite side of the line of control.
Thank you, sir, for raising this in Commons and, of course, your words of solidarity in this hour of deep grief and mourning. Now may I invite MP N18G to please share a few words.
thank you to you all, and thank you to Your Excellency for this opportunity to share in what is a collectively felt sense of deep grief and sorrow. I grew up in India till I was 12, and the experience of Kashmir is not a personal one through visiting, but it's a deeply etched one in my mind and heart through the stories that we heard of the beauty of it. I know that from my family, from all families that are friends of ours, relatives of mine in India, the pain that everyone in this room feels, so they deeply have pain as well. I think, as Latin mentioned already, this was raised in the Commons across parties, and you have all our support from across the House of Commons in making sure that not only justice, but a sense of future security is assured for all people in India and beyond as well. For now, thank you, and we're with you for supporting me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I please invite Baroness Verma to please share a few words?
Namaste to everyone, and I join my colleagues and Minister and member of the Maharashtra Legislature, and of course our dear High Commissioner, in the sorrow that we are all feeling. I think that picture is going to be etched on all our minds for a very, very long time, and I think it should be a reminder of why the words that have been spoken by God today is that we need to have condemnation. We need people to condemn what happened, because it happened because of their faith, their religion. And if we allow it to breed into our societies, it's happened in Kashmir, it can happen anywhere. Innocent people lost their lives. And the High Commissioner rightly said all they were doing was spending time with their families. And now they're going, and the whole country of India is in grief. The people in Kashmir, in Pahalgam, are in grief. Because I witnessed yesterday people saying, this should not have happened. Our livelihoods are all connected with what has happened. And I think that it is time to stop making excuses that this problem cannot be solved. This problem cannot be solved, but we need a united voice. And I expect every single person in this country, and of the 1.34 million that we are here, is to give our complete backing as a living bridge to our Indian High Commission here to make sure that justice is served and justice is done.
Thank you, Baroness Verma. Can I ask, request Henry Lord Robert to please share a few words with us?
Madam Minister, Madam Minister, Minister of State, Shri Pahalgam, Minister from the Government of Maharashtra, my lords and ladies, members of Parliament from the UK, my brothers and sisters of Indian origin and from India. Thank you first of all for being here to join us in expressing solidarity with people of India and in offering your support, your condolences and your sense of empathy with those whose lives have been unalterably and unforgivably changed by the actions of terrorists from across the border. I do want to say a few things first about the circumstances of this act, after which I will ask you to join me in a minute's silence, and then we will request our dignitaries to say a few words to us. First and foremost, why is this something that is worthy of our attention? It is so because this is the largest killing of civilians since the Mumbai terror attacks. In 2019, you might recall, there was a similar terror outrage that targeted, not that that makes it any better, but it was a targeted attack on a paramilitary convoy. In this case, people were pulled out, identified on the basis of their identity, their religious identity, and shot dead. These were civilians in the largest majority, and all were there just to have a holiday. The purpose of this exercise in bestiality was purely to create terror and to undermine the ongoing normalization of circumstances in Jammu and Kashmir. The purpose of this exercise was to prevent the people of Jammu and Kashmir from carrying out normal day-to-day businesses, to prevent them from improving their lives through business, through work, to intimidate people from coming to this beautiful part of India, and to undermine the normalization of the political process that had been brought into play through the very successful conduct of an election not so long ago. I can tell you this. You have seen for the last several decades the repeated efforts to intimidate, otherwise distract India in its development journey, or to try and break the spirit of India and to break the unity of the people of India across language, caste, creed, and religion. I can tell you this. It hasn't worked before. It won't work now. It will never work. There are 1.4 billion of us. We're a nation moving forward. We're a nation moving together. We're a nation dealing with our challenges, some left over by history, some left over by acts of our own, but none that will be deterred, no part of our journey that will be deterred by people who believe that killing people is a solution. I ask you to remember, however, that these were lives of ordinary people. I ask you to remember that these were lives of people like you and I, who seek to spend time with family, to seek to have what everybody believes is their right, the opportunity to travel, the opportunity to broaden the mind, the opportunity to spend a few precious moments together in this short journey that we call life. And it was these people from whom that very, very simple, basic opportunity to live was taken away from them. Look, for instance, at the picture of that young lady there. That young lady and her husband were newly married. They were there on their honeymoon. That young child's life has been ruined for no particular purpose. It won't change the trajectory of history. It won't change the arc of destiny. That one, we are winning that. It is not going to make a difference. Those who believe that they can organize and send people like that, like this across the line of control to create terror, that mission is always going to fail. All it does is blight the lives of the few. And so I ask you to remember in everything that you do that we have no place in our hearts for hatred. We have no place in our minds for enmity. Every one of us is an Indian, no matter what language we speak, where we come from, how we pray. This is our country, and it is not for others to dictate how we will respond. What I can tell you is this, what our Prime Minister said recently: we will never forget, we will never forgive, and we will exact a punishment for this. There will be we should be clear in our minds, there will be no forgiveness. There will be a price to be paid by the people who committed this act, by the people who planned it, and by the people who back it. And there will be nothing in the world that will stop us from doing that, and there will be nothing in the world that will deter us from that mission, no matter where they are, how far away, or how they might. I leave you with that thought. I ask you to join me in a minute's silence, and at the end of the event, please, before we stand for that, at the end of the event, I will ask a colleague to ask you to recite what we in India have as the Shanti Mantra, which is prayer for peace. But each of you, regardless of your faith, please feel free to make the same prayer in whichever prayer of your faith that approximates it. So please, ladies and gentlemen and excellencies, a minute of silence.
Good evening, everyone. And on behalf of the government, I wanted to express condolences for the horrific terrorist attack in Pahalgam yesterday. It is utterly devastating, and my thoughts are with those affected, loved ones, and the people of India. And it is wonderful to have ministers here so that we can grieve together. The Indian diaspora, including so many of the people in this room, are living what bridge between the UK and India, and I know that many of you will feel this tragedy very personally. As the Secretary of State, Lisa Nandy, also said last night, the UK stands shoulder to shoulder with India in the face of cowardly attacks of terrorism against innocent civilians. Foreign Secretary sends his best wishes, and I wanted to thank also both parties, main parties in the House, for attending this evening as backbench members across the House of Lords, and my lords, my ladies are here this evening as well. Both the upper house and in the House of Commons, we had very solemn words from both sides of the House today to remember those families, those victims, and we must pull together dangerous times like this to emphasise an element of justice, but also to put our arms around the families and the communities who are in deep sorrow. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be part of the prayer for peace today. We are with you. Thank you.
Mata ki! Bharat Mata ki! Bharat Mata ki!
Bharat Mata ki. We have gathered here. We have gathered here in front of the Indian High Commission today just in support of those victims in Pahalgam. Innocent people enjoying life. They were there as tourists. They were there to enjoy. Suddenly, life was taken away from them by these terrorists. Innocent civilians are being killed is not on. If people are so bad in this world that they would like to kill innocent civilians, it is absolutely unacceptable at any level. We will not accept this kind of behavior.